Today, I'm exploring the internet's unsettling parts so you don't have to. For instance, here's a site to help you evade fares on the Berlin subway. If you're unfamiliar, this is what the Berlin network looks like. And here, for example, there's a report from someone saying there was an inspector right here. Honestly, it's amazing. There was an equivalent site in France and it didn't even last 3 days. Unlike this one, which I think is legal in Germany. Statistics show there's less fraud in Germany than France. Germans sometimes even respect rules too much. This site shows the progress of a tomato plant managed by artificial intelligence. Let me explain. This is the webcam of the tomato plant, and basically it's the artificial intelligence Claude that manages absolutely everything. Basically, there are sensors in the tomato plant, and it's the artificial intelligence that decides whether to turn the lights on or off, whether to water the plants, or whether to turn on the heating. I think the experiment is incredible. So, there's a kind of little daily report of what the artificial intelligence does. I can't wait to taste these tomatoes. Is it left-wing or right-wing? This is a site that uses artificial intelligence to determine whether something is left-wing or right-wing. For example, Mélenchon. Mélenchon is left-wing. Okay, there are no bugs so far. Minecraft, I think it's going to say it's left-wing. Yeah, Minecraft is left-wing. I agree. Fuse 3, I feel like I'm going to get in trouble. Fuse is left-wing. Okay, do what you want with that information. It's the artificial intelligence that decided. Afterwards, I think that so if I put a space between Fuse and 3, then on the other hand, it's left-wing and right-wing. Artificial intelligence isn't always very consistent. This site analyzes your photos and finds disturbing information. Okay, so this is a photo of me on vacation. Let's see what the site is able to determine from this. Well, obviously, it's taking a little while to load. Okay, so first, it determines that I'm a man in my late 20s. It estimates my annual salary between 30,000 and 50,000 euros. It's a bit more. It's a bit more. And so, what's incredible is that this site is based on the technology that Google uses to show you ads. And so here, it lists the ads that could potentially interest me. For example, vintage typewriters. That's very specific and I don't care. Artisanal coffee interests me a bit more. I don't care about independent film streaming or a leather journal either. Honestly, it's still struggling and doesn't respect me. It says, the subject seems to have low emotional stability and difficulty controlling himself. So we can target him with experiences that boost self-esteem. Just so you know, that's literally the algorithm that's used to show you ads. And it doesn't respect me. That's not gonna work. Do you know what this thing is? It's condensation trails left by planes flying in the sky. And by the way, there's also a conspiracy theory that says these are chemicals left by planes in the sky to poison us. Well, what this site does is analyze all the condensation trails from all the planes in the sky. And when they're blue, it means they're cooling the environment. And when they're red, it means they're warming it up. There's a really good video on YouTube that explains that with this phenomenon, by slightly changing the trajectory of planes in the sky, it's possible to reduce a bit of the warming caused by aviation. This site is one tool used for analysis. If I speed it up, you can watch the condensation trails change and see that this one here is warming the whole environment. This site offers a calculator that's based on ChatGPT. That means that if I do a calculation here, for example, 1 plus 2, the site will actually ask ChatGPT for the answer to that calculation, which is a really bad idea, you know? So 1 plus 2, 3.333. Okay, well, it's already going off the rails here. So, 12 times 2, 24. There, it got it right. Well, we used the equivalent of a kilo of coal to get that answer. But at least we got it. Wouldn't it be better to reconnect with nature instead? This site, for example, offers live webcams of animals in the wild. Here, for example, it's a live webcam from the canopy in Panama. It's funny, you can see real-time viewer counts on each webcam. Some aren't nature-related. For example, here's a webcam from Santa Monica Pier in Los Angeles. Do you remember my video about betting on current events? Now, there's a globe where you can bet on global conflicts. If I go to Venezuela, I can probably place many bets, right? Are the United States going to invade another Latin American country again in 2026, the world we live in? Seriously. It's a world where you can pay to talk with entrepreneurs. So basically, what this site offers is to pay for a few minutes of calls with successful people. For example, here I can pay $2,000 to talk for 15 minutes with the creator of Reddit. Well, the guy is nice. He's not the one getting the money. It goes to a foundation, the 776 Foundation. Maybe I should get on this site, actually. That would let me increase my salary from 30 to 50,000 euros a year. This is a quality site. As shown by the design, we're on an official government website. But basically, this site is the traffic barometer. Basically, it lets you display this curve that shows the traffic jams on the road compared to usual. So here, you can see it's 5 o'clock and there's a normal amount of congestion in France. In total, 80 kilometers of traffic jams. Honestly, I think it's really cool that we track this kind of information. And speaking of information we track, actually, there's this site, data.gouv, which is a goldmine for big nerds. That means there's a huge amount of data that the government gives everyone free access to. For example, this map shows the locations of surveillance cameras in Paris. It displays where all the cameras in the capital are. If I zoom in, you can see a camera here. So if you're planning to commit a crime, I'll put the link in the description, okay? I'm joking, so please don't do that. Otherwise, I'll get in trouble. I'm looking at the amount of data available. It's incredible. This, for example, is the result of the sanitary inspection of the water distributed in each town. This site is a paradise for nerds. So do you have a signature in your email. You know, that little section at the end of your email where you put your name. Well, what this site offers is to make a really cool signature box. For example, my name is Julien Guichon. And actually what this site does is it takes the keys you'd press to type your name. And it will make you this kind of nice signature. I think it's really cool. Fuse 3. Well, if you have a short nickname like me, it's a bit more basic. This site lets you draw a fish. Yes, don't ask me why. So, do I know how to draw a good fish? There we go. Honestly, that's a banger. It tells me that the probability that it's a fish is 71%. That really means I must have done something crazy. Well, and the special thing about this site is that I can click on make it swim. And now my fish is swimming with all the other fish drawn by other users of the site. But on the other hand, there's a big copycat here, huh? He made exactly the same one as me. Alright, so the next site uses the webcam. Normally, I'm supposed to be able to make music with this. I don't understand how this works. Oh, that's cool. Oh, yes, wait, that's incredible. When I spread or close my fingers, it changes the volume. The angle of my hand controls the notes. And the other hand. The number of fingers I use gives me different instruments. That's so cool. Yeah, yo, subscribe to the channel. It's not very good. That's what I like. And, well, kind of in the same style, this is a site that lets you create shapes with your hands. Okay, if I do this. It's a bit buggy right now, though. Still, it's crazy to think that right now, we're in a web browser, you know. Back in the day, 20 years ago, this would have been science fiction to be able to do this. Damn, it's creating a bunch of... Actually, when I do this, it creates new shapes for me. I'm just messing around here. I feel like I'm an Iron Man, honestly. Well, it's not working. It's annoying me. This site is a map of all the trips made by New York's bike sharing service. So you can see here, for example, it's January 1st, 2025 at 3 in the afternoon. And all the little dots you see moving here are bike sharing bikes. The famous city bikes of New York. And the Parisian equivalent of these city bikes is the Velib. And that's perfect because a guy created an app called Velibrap. Yes, it's the same concept as your Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year, for example. So since it's not an official site, there's a whole process to get the information. But now I have my Velibrap, which means I have a summary of my 2025 Velib trips. You traveled 262 kilometers in 2025, which is an average of 0.072 kilometers per day. That's more than a trip between Paris and Brussels. Distance traveled 262 kilometers in 22 hours, 50 minutes, almost a full day biking in a year. One day I did 22 kilometers. I'd like to know which day that was. As for my average speed, on a regular bike, I'm at 12 kilometers per hour, and on an electric one, it's 13.4. And well, it thinks I'm lazy because I mostly used electric Velibs. This is my Velib usage over all the months. After July, I stopped using it because my card no longer works on the Velib website. I don't know why, but I think the idea is amazing. We're seeing a rapization everywhere. Even the French National Railway Company updates my train summary like this. This site is by Neil Agarwal, whom I really like if you know him. He's the creator of Infinite Craft, the Captcha game, and the Password game. His new site is about the scale of life, but I haven't checked it out yet. I just know it'll be a hit. It offers a perspective on everything in the world. For instance, deoxyribonucleic acid is 3.5 nanometers. Then there's hemoglobin, which gives blood its red color. Next is a ribosome. I'm not sure what that is. That's the poliovirus. Honestly, it's funny to have this scale, actually. I think it's a really good idea. Next, that's chickenpox. It's another virus. That's the Mimi virus, a mitochondrion. I think that's what takes in oxygen to produce energy for the body. But biology class, please come back to me. The E. coli bacterium, I think that's the bacterium found in poop, among other things. Next, we have a red blood cell. So, you can see we've come a long way since deoxyribonucleic acid, right? A white blood cell, which is actually twice as big as a red blood cell. And then we get straight to a neuron. Wow, a neuron is huge. When we go a bit further, we get to the first animal, the tardigrade. I don't know what it's called in French, but anyway, it's the smallest animal they put on the site. 500 micrometers. Next, we have a sea snail. But actually, I'm starting to wonder, tardigrade. A fascinating animal that defies death and could live forever. Yeah, I've seen this picture somewhere before. That thing is really creepy.
Subscribe to be invincible like me.
Next, we get to scales that we're starting to be familiar with, like the millimeter, with a little ladybug, a small butterfly, a tiny bee, a nanochameleon. I didn't even know about this animal. That's some kind of weird little shrimp. Then we have the rat. All right, let's move on. I'll be quick. The brain, banana, frog, cat. Now we're covering all the animals, but I'll skip the farm animals. Now, the largest living animal, the blue whale, which can reach 26 meters. But it's not the largest living being on Earth, because next we have Hyperion. It's a tree that's 115 meters tall, and apparently it's the tallest tree in the world. But it's still not the biggest because we have the pandoclone. It's something that looks like a forest. In reality, all the trees are connected by their roots. That's it. Congratulations again, Neil. I have tears in my eyes right now. Can you see it? Do you believe me? Yes, no? This is a website that shows you the number of homicides in the world. We're dealing with something extremely tearful here. In 2024, for example, there were 420,000 homicides worldwide. But I think it doesn't count all of them because you can see that whenever a country is gray, it means it's a country where we don't have the data. I'm curious to see Russia. In Russia, there were 11,000 homicides. That's 7 per 100,000 people. Whereas in France, we're much lower. We're at 1.35 per 100,000 people. And there were less than 1,000. The United States, that must be crazy. 16,000 actually. It's not, no, it's lower than Russia per 100,000 people. So normally the most dangerous country, I think it must be something like Venezuela. 26 homicides per 100,000 inhabitants. Colombia 25, Ecuador 39. How is that possible? Ecuador has about 10 times more homicides than France despite being much smaller. Oh, that's the change in homicide numbers. This statistic seems misleading. It appears to be increasing, but I think it's just being tracked better now than before. I still think my theory is that there are fewer homicides than before, right? Then again, you can always ask if killing someone is left-wing or right-wing, you know? Killing someone is left-wing. No way! It's telling me it's artificial intelligence. This is a site that redirects you to another completely random site. 96.55% of pages get no traffic at all. Come on, let's be generous and go visit a random page. Now, it's looking through all the sites in its database for one for me, the Rada Bed Breakfast Pondicherry-booked.net. I'm dead. I feel like this is a site that doesn't exist anymore. Okay, great. Well, we can't blame them. Maybe they just haven't updated the database. This is a site that lets you do fluid simulations directly in your browser. So here, you see, basically, it's extremely cool, and it uses real physical properties like if you were mixing colored fluids together. And what's cool is that you can change all the parameters and it gives different results. Wow. Why go watch fireworks when you can be on paveldogreat.github.io WebGL fluid simulation? This is a site that can only be visited once. When you visit the site, it greets you. Hello, traveler, come rest for a while. I'm leaving soon, so you'll only see me once. Do you have any advice for your past self? Then you'll write some advice. Subscribe to Fuse 3. So we can see the advice from other people. The concept is actually really cool. Just ask her if she wants to go out with you, man. Don't vote for Trump. He only thinks about himself. Well, anyway, he just put 10% customs tariffs on us because we don't want to sell him Greenland. If I refresh the page now, it will just say I've already visited and can't read the advice list anymore. No, how am I going to do it? I found this site that generates a little music from this number in binary. You're wondering how? Well, basically, I press play and watch. Each time there's a 1, a small sound plays, and the music is quite pleasant. I found a site that lists all the travel vlogs from YouTube on a map. For example, let's say I want to go, I don't know, just randomly to Mexico. It'll pull up every vlog video from every place in Mexico. Hold on, let me try something. There are 22 vlogs in North Korea, which is amazing. One features a guy getting a haircut there. As long as he only gets his haircut, he should be fine. Well, listen, I've gone through all the sites I wanted to visit. If you want more episodes, you know the drill. Thumbs up, like, subscribe. North Korea. Bye, everyone. This was Fuse. See you next time. Take care.